Well then, another week's gone by and here I am making another one of these little videos for you. And by this point you all should be blogging away. Um, and there are a number of things you should have accomplished by now. You should have be able to access our wiki project site. And you should have added your name and the URL of your blog on our homepage, and your name and picture and profile on our team page. Um, you can also notice on that site that there are pages for useful apps, exemplary blogs, and hints, tips, and ideas. I've decided that rather than create a schedule for you and when you have to do it, I am going to, this being an online class, make things more flexible. So your assignment is, before the end of the semester, to post under useful apps one example, one useful application, and post under exemplary blogs at least one, of each blog that you find worthwhile and want to point to. Each post should include both the app or blog with the URL to it and your own explanation of why it's useful or exemplary. You can also add to the hints, tips, and ideas section and edit what other people are doing there, have written there as well. You will find examples of the kind of posts on those pages that I've provided, so you can follow those examples. And when you do post something to one of those pages, you should also post to the discussion board. Add a thread to the discussion board. Let people know that you've added an item to those pages. Provide the link to those pages, and then everyone in the class is expected to go look at that, read and check it out, and leave a comment to show that you have gone to look at it. Okay, so that's for the site. Also, once you've gotten your name and URL and on the Google site, then you will have a document set up, and as I've indicated last week in the demos, you'll need to keep updating the document for each post that you put on there, and by this point we should have that all set up and be commenting, and you can respond to my comments and etc., or yada yada yada. So on the blogs, the week of January 24th, your assignment was to get the blog set up and have an introductory piece. For the week of January 31st, your assignment was to add a post that expressed an opinion and one additional post. For the week of February 7th, your assignment was to have a post that reviewed something plus an additional post. Now for this coming week, your assignment is to have a post that provides a numbered list, not bullet points, numbers, and what goes along with it, and it makes sense because this is very attractive, it catches people's attention, is to include that in the title of the post. So it could be, something like 7 things you need to know about ice skating, or top 5 blogs on cooking, or anything like that. But that is the format. It obviously should connect to your topic, but the format is a numbered list, and that should also be used in the title. You should take advantage of it in the title of the post. Along with that, one additional post of your own choosing, and whatever you want to do. Um, Other than that, the reading for this week is Carol chapters 5 and 6, and you'll read some basic points that have to do with writing for online media in general, for any kind of website. So while some of it doesn't relate specifically to the blogging that we're engaged in, we want to learn, right? Part of this course is for you to learn about online writing in general and get an idea of what that entails. Some of the points that come up are the importance of editing, and I can't stress that enough. The importance of proofreading, absolutely. I've gone over this before and in the comments. Very, very important. And they mention the use of a style guide, which is important when you have more than one person, especially working on a site or even on a blog. That depending on how many people and how complex the project is, that could be useful. But the underlying principle, again, something we've stressed over and over again, is consistency of style. That's what a style guide does, is it helps to create a consistent style for the website. There's also some discussion on the importance of page layout. And again, layout is something that was established in print media and becomes very important in electronic media as well, in online media. Something to keep in mind is usability. I mean, that's a key term in talking about the internet. When you come to a website, usability is determined by how easily people can find what they're looking for. And when it comes to these blogs, I mean, you have to think, well, what is it that people want to find out? What do they want to know? Obviously, they're going to see your blog post, your most recent blog post, and can scroll down backwards to see the second most recent and third most recent, and so on. But one of the things that they may well want to access are older posts. So, is the archive gadget easy to find, way up high? That's important for usability. Another thing they're going to want to know about is you. Who are you? They want to find out about this person who's blogging here. The About Me gadget needs to be up high and easily accessible. Third thing, and we haven't talked about it yet, I'm not asking you to do it yet, but to keep in mind, labels is another form of indexing, another way to access previous posts, and that needs to be up high. It's not that everything has to be absolutely at the very top, but these things have to be easy to find in order to enhance and get the most usable site possible. One of the terms that comes up in the reading is information architecture, and it's a way to think about websites generally and even about your blog as architecture. It's an interesting metaphor. We also use that metaphor for computers, and particularly for computer memory and locations in computer chips. It's called architecture as well. I have to confess that it was a fairly new one on me. Several years ago, I made the acquaintance of a fellow, Alex Wright, who's wrote an interesting book about that was in the line of media ecology and looking at the history of media from orality to literacy to print to electronics. And he, in his About Me, or his profile, bio blurb, it wrote that he was the information architect for the New York Times. And I remember reading how he had been hired to be the information architect for the New York Times. And in all honesty, I'd never heard that term before. I thought he had made it up. I thought this was some kind of thing that he made up just especially for himself. But obviously that's not the case, and that's something to think about. That chapter 5 is called Places and Spaces, and this goes back a way, and when we talk more about hypertext we'll get into this, but the metaphor for for online media, for websites. I mean, it's a site, it's a place, and that's important to think about. There are places we go to, there are spaces that we move through. All of the internet, all of the online areas are, and so we navigate in a way that we don't think about navigating when you read a book. You don't think about moving through a book or exploring a book, but we do think that about that with online media, and so that's something to keep in mind when it comes to writing for online media, that it involves navigation, it involves moving through a space and creating a space, creating a place that people want to come to, that people feel comfortable about, and that people can find their way around. You know, that's again the architecture metaphor, places and spaces. That's what we're dealing with. J. David Bolter called it writing spaces. Writing space, that's what we're doing. So keep that in mind as you're working on your blog, and you can continue to work on both adjusting the template of the blog and also, of course, the blog posts itself. Okay, and I'll talk to you again next week. So long.